Final Fantasy 16 hits the shelves in a couple of days, and I'm here to give you a quick rundown of all the lore we've figured out so far. The game takes place in the world called Velisthea, a magical realm made up of 6 different kingdoms, all warring for control over the Mother Crystals. In typical Final Fantasy fashion, magic is a part of the world, but this time, aside of a small minority, humans are only able to cast magic with the help of the Mother Crystals. This small minority is enslaved and forced to use their magic to serve their kingdom. Enslaved magic users will bear a mark on their face, showing everybody who, and most importantly, what they are. For some reason, the Mother Crystal's strength is declining though, which leads to war. The 6 nations in Final Fantasy XVI are constantly on the brink or right in between of war, fighting for supremacy over the Mother Crystals. But that's not the only power the Mother Crystal's ether is responsible for. So-called Dominant are blessed with the ability to call upon an Esper, an icon of an element, unleashing devastating power on every battlefield. Most nations praise their Dominant and worship them like gods. Other countries, such as the Iron Kingdom, believe that they are unholy abominations which should be killed. Other territories might enslave their Dominant and use them as weapons of war. At the same time, the mysterious Blight travels across the world, destroying and poisoning everything it touches. And that's where we get to the meat of the game. We play as Clive, not a Dominant, but brother to a Dominant and his shield. Clive is the firstborn son of the Archduke of Rosaria and his wife. Unnaturally, Clive did not get the blessing of the Phoenix icon, even though he was the firstborn son, but rather his brother, the secondborn. Such leads to resentment from Clive's mom, who sees him as a failure. His brother, a young boy not yet ready to lead, looks up to him. When the Phoenix abandoned him, Clive took toward the sword and trained every waking hour, making him a skilled fighter and strong leader, even though he is so young. As the first shield of Rosaria, tasked with protecting his brother's life, he became partly blessed by the Phoenix, allowing him to use some of the flames. Clive loves all the people around him immensely, which is beautifully portrayed. After some training and talk to his mother, we are introduced to the Archduke of Rosaria, Clive's father and ex-possessor of the Phoenix. Unlike Clive's mother, he's very proud of his son. As we move through the castle, we soon recognize that not all is well in the kingdom, and even magic-using slaves are used at the castle's domain. Some take care of water reserves, others trim the bushes. Inside the castle throne room, Clive's father waits with a mission for us. Blight, a mysterious yet unknown disease, spreads across the realm, and to defend against it, the nation needs a blessing given by the Mother Crystal, which is currently under Ironborn occupation. As the Iron Blood won't relinquish it easily, we're sure of a bitter fight, so the Archduke asks us to come with them, but not before embarking us on a smaller mission. With the Blight traveling through the continent, goblins and other evils have been spotted in the Rosarian Stillwind marshes, and we have to take care of them. After a short talk to a little adopted girl and an obvious tease for some sort of relationship, we head out. The goblins are quickly taken care of until a Morbo shows up, indicating that the Blight's progress through Rosaria is greater than thought. After a clear win over the Morbo, Clive and his guards catch up to the convoy heading for the Mother Crystal. Once they arrive, a fest is being thrown, but Clive refrains from joining, watching the moon with his dog. As soon as the young Duke Joshua joins him and opens up to Clive about being too weak and unable to lead the country, that it should have been him blessed by the Phoenix. As the young boy has fallen ill, he retreats into his sleeping quarters. Not for long though, as soon the castle they rested at is under attack. But not by the Iron Blood, but by the Holy Empire of Senprek, who were allies to Rosaria. Clive and Joshua both fight their way through the castle until they meet up. Clive tells Josh to follow his father, which he does. Meanwhile, Clive is taking on a bunch of Sambrick soldiers. After a serious fight with the Dragoon, Clive recognizes that they were betrayed by somebody inside of Rosaria. Hurrying for his father and brother, as he's trying to move, a mysterious figure appears, paining him. At the same time, Joshua and their father also get wind of the assassination attempt, but just as they do, the Archduke of Rosaria is decapitated in front of Joshua. Enraged by his father's head rolling over the ground, he's able to finally somewhat control the Phoenix and transforms into him. Clive and Murdoch realize the bird, and Clive is trying to hurry toward his brother to calm him down. Just as he's about to move, the pain is once again triggered and the mysterious person arrives again, transforming into the icon Ifrit, the second icon of fire, vaporizing Murdoch. A fight between Joshua and the second icon breaks out, taking us through the temple in which Joshua was about to receive the blessing. After having the upper hand for most of the fight, Joshua gets bested and murdered. Clive screaming, but so fatigued and hurt that he passes out. Some hours later, more Sembreks arrive, and this is where we find out that Clive's mother, for some reason, murdered her man, her favorite child, and takes Clive hostage to work as a magic user for the Empire. And this is where the prologue ends and the real game starts. 13 years later, after being sold off as a slave to the Empire by his own mother, Clive has become extremely depressed and bitter. His only wish is to kill the dominant of Ifrit and his own mother. Used as cannon fodder by the Empire, his mission is to retrieve the dominant of the icon of Sheba. We're getting introduced to the politics of this country, and an important character, Benedicta Hermann, is plotting, Game of Thrones style. As slaves as us do not matter to the Empire, they sent us in on the front line used as cannon fodder. After a battle between the two dominants, Sheba and Titan starts, Clive and his squad are pulled into the fight, killing one of Clive's friends and leaving him unconscious. It's here where the first part of the demo ends and the second part takes place quite some time later. Sid, another magic user and slave, or one slave like Clive, frees Clive and rebels against the Empire sometime later. Clive and him attack Benedicta Hermann. Sid seems to harness the power of some sort of icon, and Benedicta inherits the power of the wind icon. Clive and Sid fight, a fierce fight, but win against Benedicta. But their victory only lasts for a short while, until Clive sort of hears some sort of voice again, filling him with pain, making him go unconscious. And this is where the demo ends. Honestly, Final Fantasy 16 absolutely blew me away just with this demo, and I can't wait for the full game to the release. This might just be game of the year if this stays this fun, entertaining, and most importantly well written. I think we have like a Game of Thrones banger in terms of a video game here, and that's absolutely fire. They said they watched the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones and tried to replicate that, and shit, they've nailed it so far. Absolutely nailed it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.